Okay,
Okay.
so this is interview with LeaMarra. Um, during this global pandemic, I've been trying to get interviews to cope with this social anxiety. So this is like how I'm doing it now because I have been going very stir crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good
so
that's play. That's a good outlet to um, you know,
I've been
tap
getting
into.
I've been getting interviews from other podcasts and radio stations.
Cool.
Um, but this is like my first time, saying, hey, you know what? Why don't I just make this my thing? So,
Yeah.
um, first of all, how are you doing? And if I'm ever looking at stuff, it's just because I'm trying to make sure that everything is okay and I'm seeing you and they're seeing
Oh,
us. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
that's okay. No problem. I'm doing
Okay.
good. As best as you can be through all this. So.
Yeah, and I could see you got a little shamrock. Are you thinking of drinking some,
Oh.
like drinking? I've heard that's one of the, rit- not rituals, but traditions is to drinking. But now with this pandemic, but I don't
Yeah.
drink.
Mhm.
I want to say that right now. I do not drink. I never drank in my life. It's not been really the tastiest thing for me. My only idea of drinking is root beer and soda.
There you go. Hey, that's okay. No, I
Um,
I work at a nurse an independent and a nursing home facility. So
mhm.
I dressed up for St. Patty's Day today for them. That's why I had
Okay.
shamrocks on my face, and we had happy hour there. So
They
yeah.
had happy hour.
Yeah, they
You
the
you 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 don't. Isn't that like a rule? Like to drink?
oh so this facility is very different than your normal nursing home. So
That's
actually
one.
some
That's one
nursing
of the reasons I asked that. That's one of the
okay,
reasons I
and
asked that. So.
yeah, and some nursing homes, you it depends on where you're at, but some of them they do allow alcohol if the residents will like it. But this is a different type of approach that they use at this type of facility. So it's very resident oriented, I'd say. So
Yeah.
yeah, so and some of them don't drink, some of them just want soda too. So we provide that for them too, and yeah, and I made shamrock shakes too for some of them. So.
Yeah. I remember when. Yeah. I don't drink at all. So to me, St. Patrick's Day is just a day for me to feel like, they're all about drinking again, and it's like, plus I'm half Irish, so
Oh,
part of
there
Irish
you go.
tradition, but it's not the most memorable thing for me for considering it's been about on drinking, so I'm not all on that. So
Yeah, that's good.
so you work actually part time or not part time. This is your full time job. You actually work at a medical facility.
Hmm. Yeah. So I work at a assisted living facility.
Yeah. Um.
I work with the memory care unit, so people with Alzheimer's and dementia.
Oh, that's nice.
Hmm.
Yeah, Michelle Gaw actually
Yeah,
is
she
somewhat
does.
similar, right? Or
Hmm. Yeah,
oh,
I think her facility is a nursing home, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, she's doing activities at like I do life enrichment, which is pretty much the same thing. So
yeah. Sorry about that. There, I wanted to make sure that they are hearing us and they're here and like you
oh,
guys
that's
are
okay.
hearing us and I'm hearing you, like I'm hearing her. So I wanted to make sure. Um. I just wanted to apologize because they could have seen what was on my screen and I was popping up if they were hearing both of us. Um,
Oh,
so anyway, one time I actually will tell you this. One time I did my first interview and I was sideways.
oh, that's
I was
okay. It happens.
sideways, but you know what? I didn't care as long as they were hearing us. I was like, you know what? Just go with it. Just and the people I was interviewing was seeing me sideways. So like we're doing Zoom, like you see me like this. I was literally like this. I have no idea how that happened, but I that was one of the funny moments. So how's your music going?
It's going okay. We were in the studio in February, at the end of February or in middle of February. We got the album completed, the second album. We'll
Nice.
be doing a we will be doing hopefully a release show that's COVID friendly outside is what I'm working on.
Mm-hmm.
Socially distanced and making everyone feel comfortable in an open air place. So that might be in the fall, early fall time.
Yeah.
Um, so
I'm probably not gonna go to. I have not been to a concert. I have not been to a movie theater for a year
I
for the
know
first time.
it's that's okay. You know, you have to feel comfortable to go to these things. It is kind of scary at first when you haven't been to a lot of places because I was pretty much just staying at home and not doing a whole lot um and then I started to go out maybe like after 8 months into the pandemic. So and it
Hmm.
was kind of nerve-wracking. It was kind of scary, you know,
Yeah,
because
you
you
know
just
what? I went nerve wracking. I actually started going out like right when I moved back in with my mom. Because
mm-hmm.
I was living in a home, and she's like,
Okay.
Corey,
Yeah.
the pandemic is going on, and they're gonna lock down all the houses. Like, I
Yeah.
cannot get you anything. I can't get you. Um, I'm living in a semi-independent living home because my anxiety and depression.
Mm-hmm.
But it really gives me more space to write, do my writing. Actually just contacted last year with my editor, and he's now getting them working on getting them published and editing them
Oh,
as we
very
speak,
nice.
which I think is a perfect timing because with Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War, if we were to publish those would not sell good because everyone's talking about the Avengers, the Infinity War, the uh,
Yeah.
I'm actually now that I've thought about it, I'm actually kind of glad that like right now I've contacted him during this pandemic, and he said, "Okay, I'll work with them." And
Oh, awesome.
he's very they're all I have two business partners. I met one actually on the news I heard about, and I contacted him, and he's now contacted me to give me contacts to that editor which I talked about earlier, and so now I'm kind of just um during the whole pandemic, or actually when the Infinite Endgame, Avengers Endgame went on, and the Star Wars saga. I said this before to the viewers, but to you now. Um, I ended 5 series in a 5-part like superhero event, which is very cool. Um, and it was based on my vacation in Salem, Massachusetts.
Oh, very cool.
And I went on Halloween for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. How
I
was it?
know.
Do you love it?
I'll tell you exactly what been telling everyone. If you ever watched Halloween Town and been a fan of it, it
Yeah.
feels like Halloween Town. It feels like you're in Halloween Town.
Oh, wow. That's
Um,
cool. That's super cool.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. So during this pandemic, how has it changed you mentally? Like
Um,
how is
I,
it like
mhm. I think I've done a lot of reflecting in this alone time and trying to tackle certain traumas and experiences that I did face in the past that I wasn't really able to process a whole lot during life before the pandemic, actually, because I just kept being busy. I just kept occupying myself and not processing, certain things that I went through. So this pandemic has definitely slowed things down and has definitely helped me out a little more than I thought it would by kind of healing my own self in different ways. And actually, my album's going to be called Pandemic Healing, and that's kind of a little bit of the background.
nice?
So, is kind of just, you know, uh, tapping into my inner self and working on the things that needed to be mended and how to react to certain scenarios when they come up again. And I feel like I feel like for a little while I was not my real true self for a couple years, and I lost myself. And I feel like now that I've had time to, you know, meditate and think of what just really process everything. I think I found myself, my true self again. So um, it's been good
I've
for
lost
my mental.
myself completely during this whole 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I've
Yeah.
completely lost myself. Um, Certainly during the I don't know if you have been paying my YouTube channel. Um, During this whole 2020, when the lockdown happened, just everything general, I had COVID. Um,
Oh, you did?
and it was this easy. It wasn't easy at all for me because my mom's boyfriend went to a friend who they're friends with, and he had COVID, and he had
Oh,
no idea. And then he got my mom's wonderful boyfriend got COVID, and that's how I got COVID because I was being there for my mom. My mom was tragic. She's scared. It really made me realize just how difficult it was, and that's how I got COVID. I got COVID after she got COVID,
I see.
and it was just so. It felt like having pneumonia and the flu.
Oh, okay. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever had COVID, but
No, luckily, knock on wood, I've been pretty good so far. And my family's been good so far too. So I'm hoping we're just trying to watch who we are around and limit that. And I get tested every week actually, which is kind of nice because of working at the facility I work at. So, um,
hmm
I'll know if I do, and then I'll just isolate and do the best I can of not passing it. But always wearing a mask. I like never take my mask off if I am around people and keeping my distance and all that. So
whenever I
I
went
don't know.
out, I wore my mask because
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
living in Cleveland. That's where I moved to.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wasn't living in a very good system. The first home that second home that I lived in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I moved again to Cleveland. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't want to be specific. Um,
No problem.
but yeah, I was just losing it mentally. I felt like I couldn't go anywhere. I mean, you literally felt like you were trapped in a box. You know, I was scared of moving anywhere every time I would just go for a walk, I just wore my mask 24/7. I just wore
Yeah,
it. Even when I didn't see people, I just kept wearing it because you never know when someone's gonna come up and you're like, oh, I gotta wear it. I just kept
right.
wearing the damn thing.
Yeah,
Um,
it's okay.
and video gaming has definitely helped me. So since video gaming has helped me feel like I'm socializing, what has helped you during this whole social distancing, COVID pandemic with socializing?
In the beginning, I would have to say there I was getting a lot of phone calls from a lot of people, because I kind of did isolate myself, I'm not gonna lie. Some parts and the beginning I was doing like some Zoom phone calls with friends and having that, and actually I would go to a lot of Zoom open mic nights, which has been very interesting because you meet people from all over the world that go to these Zoom open mic nights, and that helped a lot. And just a lot of my friends kept in contact with me, um, and I would just be out in nature, to be honest, and try to, I don't know. It was very hard because I caught myself like sleeping a lot in the beginning because I was kind of depressed. Because everything was just like stripped away. We came back, the band and I came back from tour the week that COVID hit. And so we were like having some momentum going on. And then all of a sudden we came back from tour and everything was closed down. So it was really, really weird. And then I was working at another facility. And in the beginning of COVID, we were unsure of, how this whole thing was exactly. And then my facility had a COVID case and I still at home. So
Oh
I
my gosh.
decided to leave that work, because of the uncertainty. You didn't know, you know, exactly about COVID yet because it's so new. And so I was unemployed, and I've never really been unemployed before. So that was kind of weird for this huge gap. And I also put on this festival called Love Fest in Chardon, and we had to cancel that, and that was the first year to cancel that of the 10
Oh.
years I've been putting it on. So it was all like coming at me once, and it was really weird, but it's okay. I feel like everything happens for a reason. Not everyone believes in that, but that's fine. But I do. So I feel like, you know, it's all gonna be all right. It all happened for a reason, and just kind of recollecting it, and it'll be it'll be better sometime soon. Maybe we'll see how things are, but it keeps getting better. I feel like day by day of learning how to cope with this type of lifestyle. It's
Yeah,
very
you
different.
know what?
Past,
Sorry, sorry.
you're
Um,
fine. Go ahead.
so, I lost my job in October, right after I got back from. I wasn't fired. It just was not mentally good at the time, so I just
Yeah.
quit. So me losing my job and then having to go through this virus, I'm like, I have to do something to make money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm losing it. I'm playing video games. I mean, video gaming online to me was how I stayed in touch. That's how I first knew how to socialize when I was growing up. I grew up very a sick boy. Um, so me socializing was just video gaming, online multiplayer. So I played Borderlands 3, um, but it was still very hard. You had to wear a mask, and I understood that, but I just was so scared. So for me to lose my job, and then this pandemic happened, I needed to do something, and that's where. You ever heard of Jeff Dunham?
Yeah.
He's a ventriloquist.
Yes. I think so. The name sounds very familiar to me.
Yeah, Jeff Dunham is an awesome ventriloquist. He's now doing a podcast during this whole pandemic. Um, but I've learned that you ever heard of Twitch?
Yeah.
Well, I use this thing called Streamlabs, which is the platform that I'm using to broadcast this whole thing.
Mhm.
Um, I used it, and when I first used it, I learned that I could stream through Twitch. And so I
Oh.
never liked Twitch. I thought it was just some stupid random thing, but I've learned other people do it, other podcasters. Um, so I'm like, what if I just make money off of it? Um, because people do leave tips, and that's one of the reasons why I did ventriloquism because it gave me a socializing outlet. It felt like I was talking to somebody. You said that you coped with socializing with everyone. You had the Zoom, uh, open mic nights. You had friends you were on Zoom with. I had nobody. My family, my friends, they all ghosted me. I mean,
Oh.
I was friends with someone for years, and I was
Mhm.
so mad at them that I lost their contacts. I blocked them off of Instagram. I was just pissed.
Oh.
And I felt like I needed someone to talk to. And that's where the idea of ventriloquism plotted in my head. Because
Mhm.
in a way, you're talking to someone, and in a way, you're doing something. So for me, coping to me was making something negative and turning it into laughing at. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
So, and I always loved stand up and comedian. I always liked being the comedian. And that's where the ventriloquism came in. And I have two dolls. One is a ventriloquist dummy that is actually an old ventriloquist dummy where you actually have to pull the string, not one where you have to do this. It's one where you have to.
Oh, cool.
My second one. Okay, so are you a fan of The Mandalorian?
Yeah. I love the Mandalorian.
Well, there was a doll that I heard called Baby Yoda, and I now use him.
Do you use
I
Baby Yoda? Ah,
It's not
that
an
is awesome.
actual doll like a ventriloquist doll, but it's
Yeah.
just a toy that I squeeze and it'll sound like the noises that baby made, that
Aw,
baby Yoda
cute.
made. And I did one recently based on the Spider-Man 3 title announcement where the actors kept giving different titles until the next day they announced the official Spider-Man 3 title. Um, so, speaking of Spider-Man, are you a fan of superheroes? Like, have you been binge watching other shows and stuff? Are you
Um,
also okay? I'll let you answer.
no, you go ahead. What were you gonna ask? What were you gonna ask?
I was gonna ask, are you excited about the Falcon and Winter Soldier series that's coming up?
Oh, so I haven't been up to date, but I do enjoy like superhero movies, but I
Hmm.
haven't seen like all of them. The last one, this is really bad, but the last one that I really like saw and kept up to date was, I think, in like 2015. I can't remember the name of it, but it was like the Justice League of something.
Are you talking about the Justice League movie,
Maybe it
or
was just the Justice League because it had the um what's her name?
give me the names of the superheroes
So it had the
that was out?
Scarlet Witch in it and uh Thor, I think was in it. Maybe Thor wasn't in it. Oh my gosh.
Wait, are you thinking of Captain America: Civil War?
No, no, I don't
Okay.
think so. But I haven't been up to date, Corey. Basically, is what I'm saying.
Okay. Okay. Because I'm a huge superhero nerd, and if you haven't watched my YouTube channel, I'm a huge. Not only am I a huge gamer, I'm a huge nerd on
That's
superhero.
okay.
Oh, I know, but that's why I was wondering if you're into superheroes, because maybe if we could talk
Oh,
into.
gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I like the movies and everything, but I haven't kept up to date. And um, yeah, I that's pretty much, I enjoy it. Because I
Okay.
saw my favorite one's actually Superman. I think my favorite superhero is Superman.
I'm not a big, huge Superman fan. I've never been into Superman. I thought he was the
Who's your
weakest,
favorite? Who was
dumbest
your favorite?
idea. So, my favorite, growing up, I actually had two because they were actually my first dive into Marvel and DC comics.
Hmm.
Spider-Man and Batman, because I love detective stories. I loved them growing up when I was a
Oh,
boy. I also would grab a lot of books from the library, tons of them, and they would just be all detective, and I would read like probably a couple of them.
wow.
Um, but my mom just thought I was being adorable. I also loved Scooby Doo. So to me,
Oh,
detective things were what was my way, I think, of coping with me having 24 surgeries when I was born. I was huge mystery when I was a baby. I went through
oh,
these huge 24 surgeries, and a lot of them were experimental. Like I
oh
could have
man.
died five times. I was close to death. So
Oh,
for me, mystery was like detective and stuff was my.
your thing.
Yeah, it was my way to cope with that idea, I think.
Yeah.
And I also loved the idea of being Frankenstein. I love the idea of monsters. I love the Hulk. That was my another one, actually, Hulk. Because I always felt like I was two different people. You could see me as one being the human side of Bruce Banner, but the other side through all these multiple surgeries. And when I was
Yeah.
born, I had when I was young, you could see it visibly. It looked like something out of a horror movie, like
Oh.
um, like a scar stitched, um,
Mm-hmm.
like that was very open. You can actually see the other one that's right here, but
Mm-hmm.
not very much as it used to be. But that's kind of why I love the Hulk also, because I also had a lot of anger issues because my my father's side had anger issues, and so I had like that idea of being having two different things about me plus my surgery. So the Hulk was actually one of my main favorite superheroes also. So I had the Hulk, Spider-Man, and Batman.
Oh,
So those were,
very
I
cool.
think, one of my main superheroes. Um,
Very cool.
so have you been reading anything?
Um, so I have actually been reading like um this book about Reiki, and I have a book
Wait,
about have you ever heard of Reiki?
Reiki. So it's not raking like you're learning how to use a like.
Oh no. No. It's has to do with energy and healing through energy.
Okay.
So there's like a you can become a Reiki master, and there's different ways of helping to heal yourself and heal others.
Hmm.
through energy, and crystals can be involved. So I've been reading that, and then I'm reading all these, like, I call them my gypsy witchcraft books, but it's about palm reading. Those things just kind of intrigue me. So how to read someone's palm and all that, but that's pretty much what I've been reading. I was reading the book of Janis Joplin called Love, Janis, and that was interesting. A little bit about her life, but that's about it. Have you been reading anything?
Well, telling you that I'm a huge comic book nerd, you can obviously tell that I read graphic novels. I also just bought some new ones today. Um, I also bought. So I read a lot of Marvel. I read a lot of Marvel growing up. Not just Hulk and Spider-Man, but now I'm reading like multiple other graphic novels as well. I'm also thinking of reading some DC because now this theme of Fortnite. Have you obviously heard of Fortnite, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Fortnite this season is kind of DC themed because they have the character Raven from
Oh,
Teen Titans or just Titans. Um, so I might be reading some DC comics very soon. Once I
nice.
get back into reading and writing, that was one of the main struggles I went through. Because I couldn't go out anywhere, and I of course wrote stories from places I've been to concerts, and yes, I did write a character about you with you in
Oh,
it. I wrote actually every musician I've met. Um, I've written a character based off of them
aw.
because it was my outlet to outlet that energy and to write an inspiration from it. I wrote three storytellings of no three four ish. The reason it's a little bit confusing is because one of them's a spin-off of the other one. Because remember I told you I
Okay.
finished off of them. So
Yeah.
now 2020 was like my way of writing was going to be my way before the pandemic of writing new characters because 2019 was not only the end of a decade but end of multiple sagas. Marvel, the Infinity Saga, so Marvel, Star Wars. There was also a huge end of. Do you watch the CW? Like any?
Yes.
So do you watch the Flash, Green
I
Arrow?
haven't I haven't watched it in a very long time, but I do know what you're talking about, but I'm not up to date.
The kind of girl that you are, I think you would like Stargirl. That's on HBO Max,
Oh, I
season
think
one.
oh, that's not a movie?
No,
It's a
it's a
season?
TV show. It's a TV show.
Oh, maybe I'll have to
Uh,
check it out.
I think you would like that because But anyway, yeah, I've been. So they had like a Crisis of Infinite Earths, which was like their version of Endgame, and you know their version of ending multiple series and stuff. So I basically just said so end that series and start new ones. So I've been starting new ones. I even started a new Ohio story based on schoolmates that I recently reconnected online during the whole
Huh.
pandemic, which I don't know if you have reconnected other old schoolmates, maybe someone you haven't seen in a long time, and during that pandemic of being closed from everything, you're like, okay, I haven't heard of this person for a while. I haven't seen this person in a while. Should I? Have you ever done that? Like reconnected?
Um, yeah, I think so. Actually, just recently, I kind of reconnected with somebody that I went to college with, so that was kind of nice. We were talking, her and I were talking about beekeeping, but
Beekeeping, beekeeping. Oh, damn it. There was something about bees I wanted to say. Oh, I can't think. Um, well, unless, actually, AIM is kind of a beekeeper's based. You ever heard of AIM? Advanced Idea
no.
Mechanics? So, the Avengers video game, actually has AIM as the main antagonist. And what I loved about, um, AIM, or
Mhm.
the whole Avengers video game, was that it was set around the idea of the government being corrupt. And during that time of Trump, it felt like that. It felt like during that whole time, it felt like that idea of social media and stuff, and government and politics trouble going on. It felt like it was being like AIM, living in the world of AIM. Because,
Oh.
so you were in the Avengers, you were basically Kamala Khan, which, Miss Marvel is the main character of the story. And if you haven't heard from her, she is going to have her own Disney Plus show, um,
Oh.
called Miss Marvel. And, she seen it seems like an interesting show. Um, should I let you set up or anything? Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can still hear you. Can you hear me? Am I? Hold on one second,
Okay.
because I might I'm gonna try to get you off of my car here somehow. Sorry, Gary. Okay.
No, it's okay. I've had problems like this before.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, now you can see me clear because it actually gotten dark. So I had to turn on the light. So I apologize for the. I'm gonna sway my camera a little, just so you don't have to see the bright light from it. So I have done, all that. So I've been. So is there anything you want to talk about? Is there anything I missed during this whole podcast,
Um, no,
or
I think
anything?
that's it. I think that was good. I talked about my new album being released, and yeah,
The
I think
outlet
that
of
was good.
COVID
But
pandemic.
yeah, I think that was good
So one last thing I want
for
to talk
sure.
about is how important do you think of the COVID vaccine? That was one thing I should
I
bring up
think
actually.
yeah, I think it's important, and I think they're definitely um they're definitely doing the best they can to get it to mostly everybody right now,
Hmm.
and I think it'll help. I think it'll help. Um, yeah.
Should they be worried about any effects, or, should they get the total, 2 doses? Because there's the first one and the second one for the boost.
Yeah. So the second one it does cause symptoms. It can cause headache or fever or, common cold symptoms, or like
Yeah,
kind of
that did
enhanced
me.
like you have COVID. Okay, yeah. And um then, then you should be fine. I think they are still looking at some more research of long-term effects, but they did the best they can to really kind of say what they know with
Hmm.
their research. So I don't know. I think time will only tell, really, if there are certain side effects that happen with the vaccine, but hopefully not. Hopefully everything will be okay, and hopefully they'll come up with. Hopefully it'll evolve and it'll come up with one that will um, protect us 100% instead of the 65 and 75 and 85% that they have out right now.
Well,
So
I have the Pfizer vaccine. I took that one.
you
Uh,
took the what?
the the Pfizer
Mm-hmm.
vaccine.
Yeah.
Because I'm with Jewish Family Services. So I got the
Okay.
Pfizer vaccine, and so I'm like 95% COVID free, or
Nice.
safe. So really, I think it was important to also bring that up. That was one thing I should ask is like how important do you think? Because you're in the medical field also, right? So how scary was it for you to have going through this with also having someone who had COVID in your thing? So how did you cope with it? How scary was it?
It was very scary, and I ended up quitting my job because of it. So and then I just was working odd jobs. I got a job outside. I felt safer outside,
Hmm.
working like a landscape type of job. And we all wore masks, and it was a very small crew, so I felt pretty safe there. And kept washing my hands, kept sanitizing, kept my mask on my face, kept my distance.
So did you?
Um,
I'm sorry if I'm interrupting you. Did you quit your job? As in, did you quit the position you were in, and now you're still working at a different job in the medical field?
yes,
So okay, okay. I wanted to make sure
yeah,
I got that right.
yeah. No, that's okay. Yeah, yeah.
All right.
So it's it's very difficult. It was very scary. Very, very scary in the beginning. And working in the medical field again, it's you know, you're gonna be by it. Someone might have it, but our facility has been very, very clean and very,
Hmm.
very well, and everyone there hasn't been many cases at
Unlike
all,
some
maybe only
bars.
like two, and then no one else tends to get it. So
Yeah,
that's good.
I felt that same way because with me getting the COVID vaccine, during my second shot, during the time between I got the first shot and the time I got the second, um, one of my uh housemates did not get the COVID vaccine. Their mom told them do
Mm.
not get it. I overheard one of the reasons was because their religious belief, which I
Oh, okay.
think that's very sad. I think in hindsight, it's kind of sad that some people aren't getting it and some people aren't getting it because they don't trust the system, or some guy on Fortnite said, dude, they're messing with your mind, man. He sounded like a freaking weirdo. He sounded like a crazy theory, a very crazy theory dude, conspiracy wacko.
Conspiracy theory.
And like, they're all implanting things in our minds, man. And I'm like, this guy's
Wow.
smoking weed.
Mhm.
um, but one of the very scary things for me during maybe somewhat similar for what you're saying, um, I was living with also another man downstairs who's not very clean. He was also very old and
Oh,
very sick, and he was not very clean. And so the idea of me going out and the idea of me living in my own house, it was like a pandemonium. So, to me, my outlet was writing and trying to get stuff like this, interviews. I got myself on podcasts, other podcast people. Um, I also was on Kate and Gordon's show, which that's a very good show. It was a thing about autism. radio show
Oh,
for people who have autism, and
mhm.
he actually asked me to be on it, and I've been on it for a couple times. So thankfully, that
Oh,
was
nice.
my outlet during the social pandemic and social distancing. I think those two are very important. So yeah, one last question before we end the interview. How can people find you on social media?
So they can find me on Instagram at LeaMarra Music. And then I also have a website under leamarramusic.com where you'll find my Spotify and my Facebook. And I also have a Bandcamp. So those are the platforms that I'm on right now.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Well, thank you for letting me interview you, and
Yeah.
I really wish I could interview Michelle Gaw, because that would be awesome to have her on the radio podcast also. But
Yeah. Give
so
her, maybe reach out.
yeah, I've tried, but or I will try, but yeah, I'm really glad I got to interview you. Thank you for interviewing me,
Yeah.
and I will post her links down in the description. As soon as this thing uploads, because sometimes this thing can take a minute or two to upload. I mean, it's online now, but you get the idea.
I
All
got you.
right. Thanks
All right.
for
Thanks.
bye.
Bye, Corey. Thank you.